Hey guys, what's going on? This is Enox Gamer here, and today in this video what I want to talk about is the upcoming patch 3.5. Before I do apologize. My voice is a little bit different, kind of. My throat is very sore. I think I'm coming down with a cold, but if you can put up with that, we'll go through the changes and we'll see what is a buff, nerf, and if it's good or bad for who. So we'll start off with a Callie. So she's getting a initial damage reduction on her Q, which just means she's not going to be able to burst you as hard. Late game is going to do less damage as well, but they're increasing the detonation damage, which just means that instead of just queuing someone and waiting and keep queuing them for her ass, you actually get more out of it later on anyway, because it's going to scale a little bit better. We'll see how this changes, but overall it is a nerf to her burst, which is the whole point of the champion. Shadow Dance, so she's getting a nerf to her ult by 10 seconds for rank 1 and 5 seconds for rank 2 for her charge rate of dashes, which is fantastic. She's really irritating sometimes to get away from, because she could just dash you 3 times and then by the time she's used the third one, pretty much like she has her 4th charge up already. Next we have Corki. I do apologize, I gotta take a drink. Missile Barrage, so his ult fires a big one every 3rd missile instead of every 4th. Huge buff right there, that's really nice. And missile charge rate reduced to 12, 10, 8 seconds from 12, which just means you can get more bombs, and with this change you're going to get more big ones. Huge buff for Corki there, hopefully we see him in some competitive place soon. So changes to Karma, so this is the big one I want to highlight, one of them anyway, is the Mantra cooldown reduction of her Gathering Fire passive now is going to be 2 instead of 1, 1.5, and 2. So it's now just going to be a flat 2 at all ranks. And yeah, I think her auto attack is still going to stay 1. And other than that, it's going to mana cost reduction. The rest are kind of quality of life things that they are changing on her. And this is the big one that I actually wanted to point out here, which is the movement speed duration is getting increased to 1.5 seconds from 1.25, which is good. Just means it lasts a little bit longer. And they fixed the tooltip. Nice, because now the shield actually is 240 and scales a little bit better that way from the tooltip. Not that this is an actual numbers change, this is what it was before, but at least the tooltip is fixed. And movement speed bonus is now always 60%. This is absolutely huge for a buff for her E. This helps support Karma a lot, because typically you're going to be maxing your shield first anyway. And it's getting a range increased, ally shield / haste range increased to 700 from 600, which is nice as well. So we have Kayle, she's getting a cast range reduction on both her W and her ult, which is good, because she could ult people from like a screen away and save them with her ult, which was stupid. This change is like whatever, it doesn't really matter, but I mean her ranges were pretty good, pretty OP. Anyway, so we have Lux. Base movement speed reduced to 330 from 340, which is good. And as they say here, they want Lux players to be more mindful of her timing and positioning, as opponents now have more opportunities to capitalize on her mistakes, which is, all this is saying is, we want Lux to have more counterplay. Which is good, because she probably needs a little bit more. I mean, her ranges are already long enough, like once you hit 6, you can wave clear all day, and just push people in and be safe. So this is just bringing her in line with other champions as well. Most champions have 330 base movement speed. And her ult is getting a cooldown increase at ranks 2 and 3. So 5 seconds for rank 2 and 10 seconds for rank 3, which is good, which just means she can't ult you as much later on in the game. Morgana, Dark Binding, nice mana cost reduction here. 120 is just stupid amounts of mana anyway for a spell. So that's a good change for her, and this is a growing trend for ultimates where they are changing the mana cost to 100 at all ranks instead of 100, 150, and 200, which is good. And we'll see that throughout the patch notes a little bit more. So we have Tidal Wave. Nami's ult is range increased to 2750 from 2500, which is good. And cooldown reduced to 120 at first rank from 140. Now this is the most important one, because this just means that now you can ult 20 seconds faster than previous, so you have an opportunity in the first 2 ranks to ult a little bit more and create a little bit more plays early on in the game. 3rd rank is still the same, which is good. Mana cost reduced to 100, as we've seen before. Nautilus. This is a nice change for Nautilus players. I love Jungle Nautilus a lot, so this is good. Base armor increased to 19 from 15, which is nice. Gives him a little bit more defense in the early levels. Helps him with the jungle creeps and all that shit. Titan's Wrath cooldown reduced to 22 seconds at rank 1 from 26. Huge buff for his clear speed for him. That just means he can get that shield a little bit more, which increases his survivability as well. Nice to see that got changed. The last 2 ranks are like pretty shit anyway, so the 4 seconds is pretty good. New Absolute Zero. This is a huge decrease in his cooldown. 40 seconds at rank 1. Means you can Empire bitches all day long. A little bit more at least. Which is nice. And rank 2 by 20 seconds, which is good as well. What they're doing is kind of giving him a little bit more power in the early game with his ult. Mana cost reduced to 100 from 150, which is also nice. And got some Quinn stuff here. So Valor now marks targets slightly more frequently, which is actually a DPS increase for her. And now they're marked immediately when Valor lands on the target, instead of having him like land, kind of hit them, fly away, and then they get marked. Nice quality of life change here for Quinn players, and a nice buff. And Quinn now lands closer to her target when using Vault from far away, which just means that when she's trying to kite melee, they have a little bit more opportunity to tag her with some CC or something, because they're going to be landing closer to them. Urgot, Acid Hunter, this is huge. You can now see the lock-on range when there is a visible nearby enemy champion marked by his E. So whenever you hit someone with E, you can now see the range of Q, which is good because you can now understand how many Qs you can land and harass the shit out of your opponents a little bit more. So we have Volibear. Now, he is pretty popular. If any of you have been watching the LCS, he's pretty much picked and banned in most games, or at least picked anyway. And basically what they're changing here is his ability to engage and force early fights. His Q movement speed bonus was 45%, which is more than rank 1, or Summoner Ghost, yeah, level 1. So they're adjusting that to 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50%, which just means that his late game movement speed from this is going to be a little bit better than what it was previous, but they're toning his early game down so that you can actually get the fuck away from him, because he just ran up your shit and killed you. So, Spirit of the Ancient Golem. They are changing the recipe, reducing the cost a little bit. They are nerfing it, so I mean that is nice to see that it's not going to cost the same amount, even though they're taking away the armor and giving cooldown reduction. Kind of a foreseen change here. A lot of players that actually ended up building this kind of realized they were getting armor out of absolutely nowhere, and you're going to get the CDR, which is good. That's why the recipe's changed a little bit more to kind of make it make sense, pretty much. Spirit of Lizard Elder also getting a recipe change here a little bit. Actually, I think it's going to be the same thing. It's just the cost, yeah, I believe. So it's not going to cost as much, which is actually really nice. Because now junglers will actually be able to get their first item a lot sooner than before. And seeing as how they're already like pretty much gold starved, if all they do is farm the jungle anyway, it is a nice change for them. Attack damage reduced to 45 from 50, which is kind of nice because it gave you way too much attack damage anyway for what it was. This is kind of an indirect nerf to Hecarim and Vi and other champions that build this item, so kind of shitty there, but realistically it kind of makes sense anyway. Surface Embrace, active mana cost reduced to 20%, current mana from 25%, and the active shield adjusted to 20% of current mana plus 150, so now you're going to have a base shield on your Surface Embrace active, and it's going to be 20% instead of 25%, which I like. I think that's a better change, because now you're going to have a base shield of a value that you actually know, and then it's going to be 20% of your current mana. So that's nice there. Last, we have Myrrh mana. So the toggle damage changed to physical from magic. This is a nerf, because everyone and their mother build armor. So realistically, the Myrrh mana toggle part is going to do less damage overall, because, like I just said, everyone builds armor, so you can actually mitigate this a little bit easier other than the magic resist. The problem with MR right now in the game is that the items that it's on aren't good for some champions, or you're basically buying stats you don't need. So Switching it to physical just means that you can actually counter the damage a little bit easier. And it's just going to come naturally because you're building massive amounts of armor items anyway, for the most part. So other than that, that is about it. Hopefully the reworks are in this change, in this patch 3.5. That would be great. I would love to see those. But other than that, guys, I do appreciate sticking through the video and watching. If you want to comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff, I do thank you. I do appreciate it. I love it when you guys do that. It gets me all giddy and horny inside. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will have some more content for you when Sandra's up and ready to go and actually live, and the reworks and stuff like that. I will have videos for those champions and that sort of thing. If you want to see something specific, hit me up on my channel on a comment on any of the videos, preferably some of the newer ones or whatever. I will find that and look into it for you. Other than that, thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully everything is going good for you and you are having a good week, and I will see you in the next video.